In 2021, some dared to imagine a post-COVID world, while others had those dreams shattered. In 2022, tired of instability and uncertainty, people will seek out firm assurances. So what's really on the horizon? From exploring the universe and the Metaverse to seismic power shifts and new fashion trends, here are 5 stories that will shape the world ahead. In 2022, China will test America's global leadership. Around November, the Communist Party will hold its 20th Congress, where it will surprise no one when President Xi Jinping seeks another term as China's top leader. Not since Mao Zedong has a ruler amassed so much power. But while Mao's China was closed off from the world, Xi's ambitions are far-reaching.
Part of that idea of this kind of uniquely impressive and powerful Chinese leader is that he is going to be a rival centre of gravity to an America that the Communist Party, at least, is sure is on its way out.
In November, on the other side of the Pacific, Americans will hold their midterm elections. Polls suggest President Biden's Democrats could lose their slim majority in both the House and Senate, leaving a dysfunctional, divided government and a poor advert for democracy.
If you are a member of the Communist Party in China and you look at images from the West, particularly America, and you see chaos, you see protests, you see violence, you see racial divisions, democracy in the American sense is a wicked lie, that it pretends to be a system that delivers for ordinary people, but it can't even achieve the most basic achievement of keeping people safe and alive in a pandemic. For the Chinese Communist Party, the Western system led by America is in terminal decline, the only country in the world powerful enough to stop China's rise. And 2022 is going to be a study in contrasts, as seen from Beijing.
Other countries are speeding up and America's falling behind. The world has taken notice, by the way, including our adversaries.
While Americans fight to shore up their democracy, President Xi will use the year to try and showcase how China's autocracy is more effective and so more legitimate, whitewashing the fact that far away from the glittering skyscrapers, much of China is poor, polluted, and unequal.
The Chinese Communist Party would like to be loved. It will settle for being respected. They want the world to look at China's rise, China's handling of COVID. They hope successful hosting of the Winter Olympics in February 2022, the strength of China's economy, and to think, you know what, all of our qualms about Chinese human rights, China's autocratic, iron-fisted system of government, maybe those don't matter as much as China's success.
By the end of the year, after President Xi steps onto the stage in the Great Hall of the People to cement his power, China will look more ready than ever for a post-American age.
The core message of China under Xi Jinping in 2022 is a brutal one, that China's version is winning and that the West is losing.
The dream of flexible remote working will collide with reality in 2022, as many of us head back to the office. But not 5 days a week, and not 9 to 5. Hybrid working will become the new normal.
A hybrid model is really some sort of mix. It tends to be a mix of working in the office and working from home.
Working parents and people with long, expensive commutes are among those who stand to benefit from flexible working.
If done well, a hybrid office could improve inequality in the gender pay gap, all sorts of things.
But 2022 will see debate over what that hybrid model should be. A survey in America showed that the average employee would like to work from home for around half the week. But their bosses want them to spend close to 4 days in the office, with just 1 day working from home.
Both employers as well as employees will need to find a sort of middle way between the benefits that became really clear during the pandemic of remote work, but also the benefits of the office that were missed. Brainstorming is something that's often mentioned, the creative process was often missed, networking.
Hybrid models could offer the best of both worlds, but only if the pitfalls can be avoided.
One of the greatest risks from the hybrid model is probably that it means different things to different people.
Surveys show that 85% of women currently working remotely want flexibility, compared to 79% of men. And people of colour want more time working from home than white people. A survey by Future Forum showed that only 3% of black knowledge workers in America want to return to the office full-time, compared to 21% of their white counterparts. Fitting into a predominantly white office and dealing with subtle bias and racism are among the factors that are likely to make remote working more appealing.
It's not a problem that different groups have different preferences or that some might want to come to the office more than others, but it is a problem if being in the office more gets rewarded. Presenteeism bias is a well-known phenomenon that as a manager, you're not doing this on purpose, but you tend to think that the people who you see regularly on the office floor automatically as more dedicated and more productive than those who you don't see.
The problem is, if women and minorities prefer to work from home, bosses will see mostly white men in the office.
Some people talk of the office becoming a man cave, so the place where younger men all go and women will be seen much less. If you take it to its extreme, you could imagine the office becoming a little bit more like it was in the 50s, right? Which is not exactly progress.
2022 is the year the dust settles and new ways of working are figured out. But if not thought through, there's a risk that hybrid models will undo hard-won gains in equality and diversity.
The metaverse is the next frontier.
In 2022, you'll be hearing a lot more about the metaverse. So what is it, and what will it be used for?
From Microsoft's point of view, what is a metaverse? It's an internet that you can actually interact with, like we do in the physical world.
Metaverse is an umbrella term that refers to online virtual worlds and the idea of linking them together. And just as the internet was able to do new things because we connected all of the computers and the networks together, the idea is that if you link together these virtual worlds, that opens up all sorts of exciting new possibilities.
Game begin.
Online worlds where people hang out are nothing new. In 2003, the online game Second Life allowed people to enter a virtual space as avatars and interact with each other.
Game over.
But today's virtual worlds are much more realistic. The online game Fortnite blurs the line between social space and video game.
Whether you put on a VR headset to go into these worlds or you just use a normal screen like on a smartphone or a PC is up to you. I know it looks a bit silly wearing one of these things, but that's kind of not the point. I mean, it doesn't really, you look a bit stupid wearing a scuba mask, but you do it because it allows you to do a fun thing.
Tens of millions of people already play games and socialise in 3D worlds. In 2021, over 1 million fans watched Ariana Grande's concerts inside the video game Fortnite. But the metaverse is not just for gamers. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we've all got used to interacting online. Virtual meetings are here to stay, and the metaverse can make them more lifelike.
I think there's definitely an appetite out there for more sophisticated forms of online collaboration than just being in a grid of boxes in a video call. And one of the ways that you could do that would be to be in one of these virtual environments with your co-workers or your friends or whatever.
Both Microsoft and Facebook have already built virtual workspaces, such as this one from Facebook's Horizon Workrooms, where co-workers can come together regardless of physical distance.
Now, I love this sort of thing because I'm a gamer, and let me tell you, it's much more fun than going to meetings in Zoom. So I think this is where I get to shoot lots of zombies.
Epic Games, maker of Fortnite, plans to spend $1 billion to develop its vision of the Metaverse. Facebook has even renamed itself Meta.
Our company is now Meta.
It's already invested over $10 billion to make the Metaverse a reality.
Some people say, well, this is Facebook just trying to change the subject because it's got all of these other problems. But just because Facebook wants to change the subject doesn't mean that there isn't something interesting happening here.
Once a niche concept, 2022 will see the Metaverse reach a far wider audience.
That doesn't mean that everyone's going to be using it tomorrow, but it does mean, I think, that it's something that we're going to be hearing more about and that more people are going to be getting involved with.
"2022 will see African fashion enter the global mainstream. There'll be a buzz in November when Marvel Studios releases the sequel to Black Panther. The Oscar-winning movie of 2018 was famed for its African-inspired costumes.
When the first Black Panther film came out, it got lots of people very interested in African fashion, and we saw a massive shift in what people were looking to buy and how people were looking to embrace African fashion.
But the release of the sequel is just one of the factors that will thrust African designers into the limelight. Sustainability will remain at the top of the agenda in 2022, and brands like AAKS, based in Ghana, are already ahead of the curve.
I work with artisanal women living in the northern region of Ghana to hand make my bags. Sustainability, it's part and parcel of my brand. Growing up in Ghana, this is something that we've always done because it's all natural. From the raffia that we are sourcing from our farmers, to the dyes that we are using, to making of our products by hand.
I think African fashion really fits that niche of being sustainable, being ethically made, and people being able to trace exactly where the things they're wearing are coming from.
In addition, the Black Lives Matter movement has led to a demand for products from black designers. Fashion hubs in Lagos, Nairobi and Johannesburg are already well established, but new designers stand to benefit too. For AAKS in Ghana, direct sales grew 700% in 2020 alone.
I realized, yes, people wanted to show support to Black-owned businesses. People wanted to purchase products from new companies that they've never even heard of, and most importantly, Black-owned businesses.
Designers across the continent are also poised to benefit from a surge in e-commerce following the COVID-19 pandemic.
This is really transformational in terms of for African designers who can now have a place to showcase their work and also have a place for people to buy it.
With lots of factors coming together in 2022, African designers are set to make a lasting impact on the world.
The Eagle has landed.
2022 will see the space race heating up again, fueled by old-fashioned geopolitics, and new rivalries between space fanatic billionaires.
Liftoff.
Space has always been an arena for competition. We talk about the space race ever since the launch of Sputnik in 1957. And in 2022, we're going to see various kinds of rivalries between various groups playing out in space.
By the end of the year, China will complete its Tiangong space station. The International Space Station, from which China was excluded, is due for retirement after 2024, and China is keen to demonstrate that it can build its own. But China and America are not the only countries competing to show their prowess in space. Towards the end of the year, India will attempt to land a robotic rover on the moon.
They've tried this before and it didn't work, so they're going to have another go. And again, India thinks that being able to send things to the moon is a sign that, you're a serious global power.
The billionaires' space race will pick up speed throughout the year, with Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk competing to become masters of space tourism.
2022 is shaping up to be the first year where more people go to space as paying passengers than as government astronauts. And this is made possible by the rivalry between 3 space tourism companies in particular: Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin and SpaceX. And all of them sent people into space in 2021, and all of them want to send more tourists into space in 2022.
Even Hollywood is getting in on the action, with plans to shoot a movie in orbit featuring Tom Cruise, but it doesn't seem to have got off the launch pad yet. Meanwhile, the Russians already have theirs in the can. Actor Yulia Peresild and film director Klim Shipenko returned to Earth safely after shooting scenes in orbit for a film that will be released in 2022.
So this is another example of a rivalry between America and Russia, and in this case, as with Sputnik, the Russians have got there first.
Half a century after the moon landings, the space race is back, and 2022 will see the top contenders jostle for pole position.